Hi guys, Brenda Hillard here. I have a project for us today that uses a lot of technique. Last month I did a free virtual embossing class, and so I thought I would follow that class up using some of the dry embossing, the embossing powders, and just a few of the techniques we had in that class. So anyway, this card uses product from the Harvest Meadow Suite, which can be found in the July through December mini on pages 54 and 55. The stamp set and the dies are nothing short, again, of amazing because here's the stamp set. Look at all these good sentiments. Cone flowers, which does it get any better than cone flowers? I don't know. I love them. And then the dies. So you have a branch, you have the coneflower die, and then you have these open die. I guess I shouldn't have done it this way, but anyway, you have these open dies to cut out the coneflower. These look like some little mini sunflowers, and then some of the, I'm not exactly sure what those are. I suppose they could be just about anything, including wheat. And this is what they look like when you cut them out of solid cardstock. How cool is that, right? So I love this set. And I have I have several special people having birthdays in September, but one in particular is my downline team member, is what I like to refer to them as. And I wanted to have a special card for her. So this is what I found. And let me tell you that this card was totally inspired by a fellow demonstrator. Her name, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, is Akiko Sudano. And this card I just thought is so beautiful and screams fall. So let's get started with that. Here's what you need for paper. I have a piece of Poppy Parade that measures 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. I have a piece of soft suede. And when I give these colors, you guys, you know that they're the Stampin' Up! Colors, right? So 4 inches by 5¼ I have a piece of, look at our specialty cork paper out of the July through December mini. That paper is so fun to work with. I will tell you, it's a little thin, so when you do work with it, you have to be careful, but it adds such great texture to your card. And then I have a piece of the Designer Series paper from the Harvest Meadow. And if you have not seen this paper yet, it's gorgeous. The coordinating colors are here. It's a 12 by 12 pack. So that means you get 12 sheets, 2 of each, and they're double-sided. So, and I chose to use this wheat pattern today. All right, where are we? I have a medium, basic white envelope, and a piece of DSP that's 2¾ inches wide. And normally it's about 6 inches, but I had this piece, so I just kept it with it. I have a piece of basic white that measures 4 inches by 5¼ and I have just a remnant strip, and that was from this piece. I just had this little strip, so I'm going to use it on the inside of my card. Okay? And then I think I said that, but a basic white 4 by 5¼ and that's for our insert. So we can get started, and let's just do our envelope first. I'm going to get that out of the way. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal and add some adhesive here just to the flap. And then I'm going to line this up just below the crease on the flap of the envelope. All right. So let's get my paper snips here. And we'll just follow that, the outline of that flap around with our snips. All right, now I'll save this little piece because I'll use it for something, I'm sure. All right, so there's our envelope. Set that aside. Now let's bring in our card base. And again, that was 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. And I'm just going to fold it on our score line, match up our corners, and then we'll give that a good crease with our bone folder. All right. So because there are so many techniques with this card, I did go ahead and do this ahead of time. But our piece of 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 paper, I actually embossed that with my standard size Stampin' Cut and Emboss using the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. So again, reminder to my attendees from my embossing class, you never want to put your paper up to the crease. So kind of set it in there. And then when you insert the folder into your die cutting machine, you always want the crease to go in first, okay? It just saves on your folder and you don't risk cracking or breaking the hinge. So that's what I did, Tasteful Textile 3D folder, and I embossed the designer series paper. So after doing that, I'm going to take my piece of soft suede that measures 4 by 5¼ and I'm just going to add some adhesive. When you, depending upon the embossing folder, but when you emboss your designer series paper, it does make it a little bit thinner. So when you put your, especially if you're using the stamp and seal, be careful to go slow so you don't rip your designer series paper. So I wanted just that small little edge showing of my soft suede. All right, and so I'm going to set this off to the side. We're going to take our cork piece here that measures 2¾ by 3¾ and using the stitched rectangle dies, I'm going to use the, let's see, which one would it be? The fourth largest on the right here. Okay. I'm going to bring in my mini and we'll do our little cutting sandwich here. Platform 1, platform 2, our piece of cork, our die, cutting edge down. Cutting edge is always that raised, it feels sharp when you put your finger on it. And then we'll just roll this through our mini. Not feeling very strong this morning. There it goes. Oof. All right. That noise is normal, but it always is kind of shocking. So here is our stitch rectangle with the cork paper. And remember me saying that the cork paper is a little thin. So is what I want to do is just gently rub along this edge to loosen the stitching. And then once it breaks loose, I can pull it out of my die. And then I don't rip it. And then that's a good thing because, you know. All right. So I'm going to add some Stampin' Seal to the cork. And I'm going to put that right here on my piece. And then I'm going to flip this over and put some Stampin' Seal in. And we'll now put that onto the front of our card. Doesn't that Poppy Parade just make the soft suede in this paper pop? I love it. Love, love, love that color. I'm so glad that that returned. All right, next we're going to take a scrap of basic white and I want my, it's right in front of me and I'm looking for it. I'm going to take early espresso ink and I'm going to ink up the cornflowers. And I'm going to stamp them right on this scrap piece. Aren't they gorgeous? Love them. And while I have this out, I want the second impression, so I'm not going to re-ink it again. I'm simply going to bring in the insert for our card, and I'm going to stamp just on this bottom corner over here, a lighter print. Pretty, huh? Kind of looks like if you were looking at them across a meadow, they'd be kind of that hazy color. And then, remember we had that little scrap that was left from our designer series paper for the front. So I'm just going to add some Stamp and Seal to that strip. And I'm going to put that right across the bottom of our card here. Just like that. And then we have this awesome set that you can get when you host a workshop for $300 or more, or you place an order for $300 or more. You get this fun set, and I love the sayings in here. The one I'm using today, because this is a birthday card, is hope your day is fantabulistic, fabulous and fantastic all in one. So let's bring our early espresso ink back in. And I'm just going to kind of snug this sentiment right in here by the flowers. All right. I like it. Even that in itself would make a cute card, wouldn't it? All right. So let's put a little Stamp and Seal on the top and bottom here. Oops. That's my finished card. No wonder it already had the sentiment in it. So I'm just going to center that right on the inside of our card. And then we have two more die cuts to do, but I want to color this before we cut out the rest of our stuff, okay? So let me I'm going to start with the light Calypso Coral. And I'm just going to do a wash over all the petals. So when I say a wash, I just mean to um, basically color the whole thing in and lay down a base. And remember to always put something down underneath your alcohol markers because they will bleed through and they're supposed to. That's why they blend so beautifully. So that was the light Calypso Coral. Then I'm going to take the dark Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to kind of go out on the tips of the petals. And you guys, I do not claim to be like the color artist. So I just keep blending until I think it looks good. That's what I do. But there are some people out there that are just amazing with these things. These things meaning Stampin' Blends. Now I'm going to bring in the light Poppy Parade, and I'm just going to go almost to the center, coloring in, adding color. Okay. And let's take the dark Poppy Parade and we're going to go right around the very tops where they meet that seedy middle on the flower. All right. And then we can bring in our light again. And I'm just going to kind of blend so that we get color all the way through our petal. Okay. I just love these. Maybe I should zoom just a bit so you can get a better look at them. Then I'm going to take our light cinnamon cider and I'm going to color the center of our cone flowers. We'll make them look more like, what do they call them? Brown-eyed Susans, rutabaga, whatever. All right, I'm going to take the light old olive and I'm going to color the stems. And again, with the light, I'm just laying down a base of color. And then we'll go in just a minute with the dark old olive and kind of highlight some of those areas on the leaves, okay? Aren't they pretty? And let's take our dark and we'll just give some blending to the leaves and the stems. Pretty, isn't it? All right. So now that we're done coloring those, I am going to bring in the mini die cutting machine again, and we have two things to die cut. So I'm going to take the outline die from the bundle, the Nature's Harvest bundle, and just line that up on my cone flower. And we'll roll it through. Oh, I'm still zoomed. I see we don't really have to be zoomed for die cutting, but we'll just get this done and then we can bring it back down. Look how beautiful that cuts it out. Fun, right? I just love this. And that is what I did. Now I'm going to go out so that I'm not making you sick with all the motion. I had taken a piece of early espresso cardstock, and we have these awesome things called adhesive sheets. Let me grab one. They're right here. They look like this. And is what you can do is you peel this backing off and it gives you this really sticky sheet. You can see I've got some attached on there. Okay. So now is what that's done is it turns this cardstock into a sticker. And I'll show you what I mean. So there's this really fine branch die in this set. I have somehow misplaced. Let me look. Let's see what and where I might have done with that. But I had it here just a minute ago with the, all right. It was with the cone flower. And, well, I might be making this without the branch. I don't know what I did with it. Sad. It's pretty though. Let's see. Oh, look, it was hiding right underneath. All right. So is what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this cardstock side up with the sticker down. I'm going to put my branch on my cardstock, and then when I roll it through, I'm going to take this out. We get this very fine branch. And now that I've done what I've done to it with the sticker, I can peel this off the back, and I am going to be able to lay that right down on our card. How cool is that? And not have to get glue everywhere. So you just peel this little, just like our Stampin' Dimensionals or whatever, it has the tear and tape and all of that, has that little wax paper piece. So you just peel that off, and then I can put my branch right onto my card like that and not have sticky glue everywhere. I just love that. I love those adhesive sheets. All right, so now I'm going to put this die away so that I don't have to look for it like that next time. And our next step with our card is going to be, we have this beautiful lace trim, and it is called the Diamond Weave Ribbon because you can see the little diamonds in there. So all I'm going to do is lay that down on my card here, and using my ribbon scissors so I get a nice cut, I'm just going to cut this at an angle. And that's all we need is just that little piece of trim. And I'm going to adhere this to our card with glue dots. So I'm just going to put like one, another one. I'll use like 4 of them just so that it really holds it nicely in place. That one stayed on my finger. So, and the last one. Okay, so I'm going to put that right across the bottom of our cork here. And then we're going to put our cone flowers on using dimensionals. That means I want my full size dimensionals. And those are right here. I love too that these are big enough that you can use the full size dimensional and it holds it securely in place. Maybe I'll do one more down here. Okay, let's take all of our backings off. I was going to tell you in the beginning too, don't mind my nails. I need to have them done. We have a wedding coming up next weekend. I'm very excited about. Our friend's daughter is getting married. So that'll be a fun celebration. Okay, so we're getting close, closing in. We have one more step, and that's going to be to emboss. And as you know, embossing, it gets a little bit noisy, but it's worth it, right? It makes our cards pop. So is what I'm going to do is just grab a piece of the soft suede cardstock. I need just a little scrap. And is what I'm going to do is I love this font and the happy birthday from Sweet as a Peach. So that's what I have mounted on my block. And I'm going to bring in my Versamark ink and stamp up my happy birthday. I'm just going to put it right here. And I'm going to hold it just a bit because I want to make sure I get a good stamp with the Versamark. All right, I'm going to turn on my heat embosser. That makes a bit of noise. Not bad, but some. And then my white embossing powder. I'm just going to give this a sprinkle. Tap off the excess. All right, and now we're ready to heat emboss. Okay. I'm just going to take my snips to hold my paper and I will start heating it up. And I think, let me try to zoom a bit. I think you're going to be able to see this change. It melts the powder and you can see it melt and get rather shiny. All right, that looks good to me. Now I'm going to let that cool just for a minute because that powder takes just a minute to dry. And then we'll cut this and put it on our card. All right, let me bring in my little mini. This was my celebration a couple years ago. And I use it way more than I thought I would. I'm just going to cut. And that's going to be our label with the sentiment for the front of our card. All right, let's put some dimensionals on there. I'm not going to put any in the middle because we've got a bit of bulk on our card with the cork, the ribbon, and the die cut. So I'm just going to come up here and I want to put this right. Oops, you got that right above the ribbon there. Okay. And then last but not least are embellishments. These are gorgeous. They're the Brush Metallic Adhesive Backed Dots. And I'm going to choose to use gold on this one. There, there, and there. All right. I want to tack this down a little bit. I don't like how this one's sticking up. Give it just a little bit of glue. My other one didn't do that, so I don't know what's. All right. All right, you guys. There it is. There it is. There it is. Beautiful birthday card for my beautiful friend Sandy. All right. Have a great rest of your day. And until next time, peace.